time for Inside the Gamecocks, the show with Phil Mullinax and J.C. Sherbert.
So, how many of you would say you speak English fairly well, but with some difficulty?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
You play to win the game.
Now, let's take it away, J.C. and Phil.
Folks, it's the day before game day here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. I'm J.C. Sherbert. He is Phil Mullinax. Those of you on the live stream right now, Phil's got the best shirt I've ever seen in my life on. For the best band ever.
That's right.
To be formed.
The greatest movie band ever.
Yeah, the greatest not real band. I mean, it's, because like the Dan Band and Tenacious D, they're kind of movie bands, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're real bands, like Sexual Chocolate only has appeared twice.
That's right.
I remember at the end of the Second Coming to America, it shows you how dense I am sometimes. I'd forgotten all about Sexual Chocolate, and they were introducing the band, and I was like, well, who is it? Maybe it's Britney Spears. And then I'm like, I guess, because I was just kind of like, well, it's going to be a crappy way to end a movie because it's probably some artist I don't care about. And then it hit me. No, it's Sexual Chocolate. So that's amazing. A couple of news items to pass along to you out here in Gamecock land. I also wanted to remind you, hour number one is presented by Cindy Searfoss Realtor, Caldwell Banker Kane, my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Do you need realtor services, buying, selling? Maybe you just want to kind of look around. Cindy's your person for that. Many of you have already reached out to her. We certainly appreciate her sponsorship. So a couple of news items coming out of Gamecock land. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about the day I've had, or the last 8 hours or so of my life. Yesterday, so two pieces of news. The first piece of news was that they came to an agreement with Sir Big Spur. And so the general, lasted like a day.
Not even a week, yeah.
And so now it's back to Sir Big Spur. So all's well that ends well. The bird's still Sir Big Spur. We'll figure out what they're going to do with it. Blah, 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 blah. So glad to put that to bed, right? Mm-hmm. And that happened last night. And so that news sort of broke. And then this morning, it was announced by the University of South Carolina that Saturday night's game is a sellout.
Yes.
Sellout crowd for Georgia State. You guys that are going should be commended. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of recruits on campus. That always helps with that. Certainly the players have worked hard. And it's an exciting season opener, and people are kind of fired up about this year. And rightfully so. So kickoff 7:30 p.m. streaming on ESPN+. I'll say once again, if you have the SEC network as part of your cable package, you'll be able to access that on your smart TV by adding the ESPN app. I've got mine all set up and ready to roll. It's streaming only. So, if you go to you're thinking about catching the game at your favorite watering hole, make sure they have streaming capabilities, because that's something you run into sometimes, if you're not going to Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night. Okay, so we're going to get in the Nana's Porch chat box. All of you said good morning. Good morning, Craig. Good morning, VJ. All you guys. Chris C says, we made it, fellas. Just to read a few off the top. We'll always appreciate our chat boxers. Once again, I don't know if I said this at the top of the show or not. Michael Flynn, former Gamecock receiver Wando, joining us at the bottom of this hour. And then, as we do it every Friday, Meredith Taylor to talk golf and the Gamecocks. Today, she's got a lot of topics she wants to discuss on the game of golf and also the Carolina game this weekend, season opener of college football. Last night, SEC teams in action and kind of just rolled over inferior opponents. I thought Louisiana Tech would give Missouri a little bit more of a game, but that's what they get for firing Skip Holtz and hiring Sonny Cumbie. That was one of the worst firings I think I've ever seen. I mean, he's won championships at Louisiana Tech. Turned down maybe some other mid-level group of five jobs to stay there. They're not a very good program historically. They're kind of up and down. Who do they think they are? And so I didn't have a problem, even though, I'm not the biggest Missouri fan in the world. Didn't have a problem seeing the Tigers roll over them last night. Hell of a game between West Virginia and Pittsburgh. Pitt with a late, tremendous, all effort, DJ Swearinger style pick six.
Oh, yeah.
For the DB and won the backyard brawl 38-31 at what I'm always going to still call Heinz Field, right?
Right.
And then Tennessee, I don't know what Ball State's game plan was. It seemed to me like they were trying to run it up the middle and just milk the clock with their gigantic wrestler-looking running back. And that was not a sound strategy. Thought the balls looked very crisp and good, and their fans were happy last night at Neyland Stadium. So there you go. And Penn State-Purdue was a great game, too. 35-31, Nittany Lions rallied. I thought Purdue had the beat, and Penn State with a comeback.
That's right, came back. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, Phil. Did you watch any games last night? Any impressions of anybody?
I did watch the Pitt West Virginia game. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if Pitt really is going to be able to live up to what it is their ranking says right now. I'm a little worried about that.
I sort of
but
think
at least they're. You see,
this guy, Pitt to me, and look, kudos to their fans. I mean, they showed up because when you're playing West Virginia and you're them, if you don't show up, West Virginia is going to outnumber you in your own stadium because West Virginia is right down the road and they got a huge fan base. So I thought the Pitt fans showed up loud. They're loud and proud. And, that team, I think, I'm with you, Phil, as far as some people have picked them to go to the playoff, and I'm like, it doesn't look like a playoff team to me, especially on defense. But I thought one of the things Pat Narduzzi's teams do is they battle you and they fight and they find ways to win. He's almost got that. It's almost like he took the Michigan State magic with him out the door when he left D'Antonio, because he was a defensive coordinator for years. But Narduzzi's a heck of a coach, and but I'm kind of with you. I kind of got the feeling this is probably not as good of a team as they had last year. But hey, first week, it's always overreaction, right?
No, exactly. Yeah. You can't say anything about this week unless you just fall on your face. Now, let's hope that doesn't happen to anybody.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll tell you guys a story. So and this is kind of a life lesson, and to tell you what happened to me. Never relax and never think everything's solved. I mean, because the minute you do that, and I did that last night, I was just going to kick back, watch the ball. We went to our kids' freshman game. Got mad about the coach again about playing time. I did not. I was mad, but I wasn't. I don't confront the coach or anything like that.
You're yelling at him from the stands.
So I'm relaxing, watching ball. I put the podcast version of this show up and didn't double check it, and so the next thing you know, the podcast didn't up. And then about 2:00 this morning, the phone starts ringing off the hook. Nat's mother got rushed to the hospital in the middle of the night. I had to get up at 7 and do carpool duty and then drive to the hospital, which is about 25 minutes from here through traffic, get her dad, because her dad needed to go home and take his medication. So I've been running all over creation today. And I just was thinking about it. I was like, the minute you think you can kick back is the minute all hell breaks loose. So all hell broke loose in Casa de Sherbert the past 6-7 hours. So I'm glad to make it here on the show. I didn't. One thing I was not going to do was cancel the show today, but it's been a crazy little time right here at the season opener. So life lesson for everybody out there: never relax, never get comfortable, because the minute you do, even if it's like for 6 hours, something inevitably is going to happen. So with that, I apologize for those of you that listen on podcasts, because there's a lot of you that do. And it just did not get up until this morning, because that program, sometimes it's happened to me before. So a lesson learned here. I need to double check it, because it's happened before where it just sits there and spins and spins and spins and doesn't actually upload. And then that program sends it to you guys who listen on Spotify and Podbean and Apple Podcasts. Most of your Apple, about 80% of your Apple Podcasts, but I apologize for that. So it's just my screw up, and I need to double check that, because if that program's not going to is going to sit there and spin and get stuck sometimes, I need to make sure that you guys still get the show. So anyway, all that out of the way, let's go to the Nana Sports chat box. Chris says we made it, fellas. Daddy O says 32 hours. I was kind of thinking that. I was trying to count out the hours, Phil, driving back, and my math was a little fuzzy. I was like, well, it's because I'm like in Central Time too, so I got to do an extra addition or subtraction. I was like, okay, this bubble. I kind of figured it out, but I was like, that's good. Daniel says, man, tomorrow's so close, but so far, ready to go.
Yep.
Clint says, can't believe we play football tomorrow. Craig says it's here, Clint. Gamecock Pastor, Fridays are for live listening. Let's go. Who's joining me and Willie B tomorrow? Apparently a lot of you.
There'll be a lot of them down there, Pastor. Yeah, man.
Yeah, all that good stuff. So that's good. Ed watched Pitt and Penn State. By the way, I want to thank you again, Ed, for the suggestions yesterday in the chat box for the show. We're always looking to improve, and it will. John says, more pumped for the start of the season than I have been in 10 years easily. I think so, and I think a lot of people almost are a little hesitant because I think the last time there was a season like this that was this anticipated, 18 was an anticipated season, okay? Yeah, but it wasn't – I don't think everybody was as excited as maybe – this year, and then 2014 was just Gamecock Palooza all off season, and we saw what happened when A&M rolled into town.
Oh yeah,
and threw for 600 yards against that defense with Kenny the Thrill Hill, who was a Heisman candidate for like 2 weeks. Will says sellout versus Georgia State is pretty good. Somebody says no sound, guys.
Oh yeah, when we opened the show, yeah.
Oh, my fault. Oh, okay, that's okay. Gamecock Pastor, you've inspired me, Clint. Spending the morning on the lake, then heading over late afternoon to the tailgate. Going to pick up Maurice's on the way. Maurice's barbecue. That's that mustard-based sauce. I'm just gonna say, as a proud South Carolinian, I love mustard-based barbecue sauce. But not gonna get into like what I prefer. But I will say the mustard-based sauce is delicious. Daddy O smoking a butt. Way to go, Daddy O. Craig says, "Can you rewatch the game on ESPN?" That's right. Craig has a wedding, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. Oh, or is it a concert?
A concert, right? Or what? Yeah. So I think so, Craig. But don't quote me on that because I think you can get the replay on your app. But I don't. I don't rewatch them that way. I usually go and find them on YouTube, and somebody's out there putting them up. The condensed versions of the game, But I would look into that. Ken says, "Good morning and happy game week, JC and Phil. Haven't been able to stay up late in Japan to catch the show live, but been listening to the recaps on Spotify. Thank you."
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
In Japan, beautiful country. Keep up the great work and go Gamecocks. Elizabeth says, backyard brawl was amazing. Clint
Heck of an ending. Yeah.
Oh, Clint's making me hungry. Sounds good, Daddy. I can't wait for my hash and rice and hush puppies.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. Hash and rice is good stuff. You talk to anybody outside of the South about hash and rice, they don't know what you're talking. They're like, what is this? Purdue blew it versus Penn State, Will says. Clint likes the freshman running back for West Virginia. And he says that was a lucky pick six. Can't believe the receiver dropped that pass. Yeah, the actual pick was a work of good fortune. Mm-hmm. What impressed me was the return, dude. That guy just was not going to be denied. Once he got ahead of steam, he just left everybody else. So that was good. Daddy-O says Pitt's crowd brought it. Craig says Pitt D-line is legit. I did like their D-line.
Yeah, they look good on the defensive front. So I mean that's going to help them for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So this is important. Ed says seemed to be a lot of targeting calls in the game. Yeah, it sucks. I'm just crazy. So Charleston Fitness Equipment. I won't put this up there, Phil. This is important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is important. This is not a Carolina Rise, my collective event, but this is NIL. Okay. So this is going to help you. Marquis Anderson's family food truck, 365 Grilling and Seafood, will be at 98 National Guard Road from 3 to 7 tomorrow. So everybody go by and get some of that food.
That's right.
I know you probably have your own menus and all that, but go buy a little something for Marquis Anderson and his family there at the food truck. Clint says, talking about my story, I heard a good saying regarding that, JC. If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. That's true.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
How about former Gamecock Johnny Dixon, a.k.a. Toast for Penn State? Did have a nice sack. Yeah, I saw him get beat a couple of times, too. Cocky Gaming says the free Sir Big Spur movement was successful. Yes, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Brad says, being Friday, are you guys going to make some picks on the higher profile games this weekend? Might be a cool segment on Fridays and even have a guest picker at times. Yes. I'm going to actually want to talk about today's poll question. We're going to pick those 4 games on the poll. And the poll is, what SEC game besides Carolina are you looking forward to the most? I think there on thebigspur.com, there's an other option. I think on Twitter, there was just 4 games like LSU, Florida State, Oregon, Georgia, and then there's LSU, Arkansas, Cincinnati, of course, which I think is going to be a really good one. And then Florida and Utah. So those are all games of note or interest for Carolina. Gamecocks don't play LSU this year, but I think everybody else in those 4 listed, they are on the schedule. Georgia, Florida, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
John says, let's go game day tomorrow. And so Brad, to answer your question, yes. And we're going to get the chat box involved, right?
Yeah, man, we'll be looking for y'all to make some
you
picks.
guys to make some picks, too, and all that good stuff. Alex says hash and rice is foreign almost to everybody outside of Georgia and the Carolinas. It is. Jay Rock says, what's up, y'all? It's game day eve. As Muschamp would say, it's time for Carolina football, so get the blank out of your seat. Man, that was that 2020 season. I actually, a friend of mine at the time, he's a Tennessee guy, and, so we flew to Greenville to hang out with him because it was during the pandemic and all that good stuff. So, I'm sitting there, and the whole day was surreal, because I'd been up. It was late September already. We stayed up all night the night before because I hadn't seen the dude in a while. Nat went to bed, of course. And I wake up, and it's like you look at the empty stadiums and all that good stuff. That whole day was weird. And then there was a pretty good ball game with Tennessee and Carolina, of course, lost. But but I'm sitting there on the porch in Greenville, right? I think it's during the LSU game, and that leaks, and I was just like, wow. Are we still going to shoot Sir Big Spur NIL deal? I'd like to have him on for an interview with his thoughts on the naming controversy. What do you say, cock-a-doodle-doo? Daddy-O says the general had so much promise. Gonna miss that feathery fella. R.I.P. the general.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, VJ says ready to stop talking about mascots. Me too.
You and me both, Belmont. Yeah, man.
Me too. Drew Dupuy says weirdest game I've ever gone to is that Tennessee Carolina game. Yeah, it just nobody there. Weird. Jay Rock says I'm going to the game tomorrow. I can't wait for the new lights and stuff. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
You guys too. Send in if you're at the stadium and you get some video of the lights or anything new you like, the crowd. Shoot it to us inside the Gamecocks at gmail.com, and we can kind of feature it on some social media channels and stuff like that. If you want us to. That's a good idea. We always like stuff like that. All right, that's the Nana Sports chat box catching up. Phil, what game? And all right, so the poll question is, which SEC game are you looking forward to the most besides South Carolina? And Oregon, Georgia. Yeah, so I mentioned Oregon, Georgia, Florida State, Florida State, LSU is on Sunday. So Oregon, Georgia's tomorrow. Utah, Florida's tomorrow. Arkansas, Cincinnati's tomorrow. So those are your 4 options. Anybody else, want to pick like Utah State and Bama? That's fine. I think Utah State's getting 41. Somebody y'all on the West Coast picked Utah State to win the national championship or go to the playoff. Yeah, because their theory was they're going to upset Alabama in week 1 in Tuscaloosa.
And then just roll.
And then roll through the rest of it. And I'm like, well, they would make the playoff probably under that scenario. So that was kind of crazy. So Cocky Gaming asked, do we know if they're going to air the lights on live TV? Obviously, I'm sure they'll flash every now and then, like after a touchdown, but will they show them for halftime? I don't know what the ESPN stream will do. So I'm not sure on that. I'm sure you'll be able to see some of that stuff on TV, though. I just,
I think that was one of the cooler things about having the pay-per-view games. Even though you're paying a bit for it, but they just leave the cameras running through all the breaks. So you get to watch the band, you get to see the whole atmosphere. But no, who knows what ESPN will do.
Yeah, who knows on that one. All right, so we are so there's the poll. Like, okay, so which game are you looking forward to? Phil and I are going to talk about them and pick them. We're going to talk about them with Michael Flynn. We're going to talk about them with Meredith Taylor later, and all that. But Phil, of those games, what kind of stands out?
Cincy and Arkansas is going to be an interesting game. It'll be a good game, I think. But the one I'm really looking at is Utah, Florida. Just want to see what Florida actually looks like against a real opponent because they get one right out the gate. And Utah, don't. A lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be hot and the conditions and all of that. I don't think that will have as big a factor in this game unless they, keep it. Unless Florida could keep it close and then turn it into a, third, fourth quarter game, then there might be some cramping and stuff like that if they're having to play too hard.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, because I've been out there. It's very pleasant, and I've been to Gainesville, Florida this time of year too, and it's not. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overvaluing that part of it a tiny tad bit, but I just. It's the swamp, man. It's hard. And you look at some of the national folks too. They've all picked Florida to win that game. I think they're a little bit overconfident. I think it could end up being Florida wins, but by the end of the year, you're going, how in the hell did Florida win that game? Because Utah is much better. I think Utah's a better football team is what I'm trying to say. But that's the deal there. Brian chimes in the Nana Sports chat box. Any big recruit's going to be at the Georgia State game. Marky Anderson, obviously. And then there's some younger guys that Hale reported about today. A kid from Belton Honeypath is a 2025 running back whose name escapes me. Sorry, I just kind of slid in here and didn't do a whole lot of prep today. I did read that, though. And so some underclassmen and then some commits and guys like that. The big weekend is going to be Georgia for recruiting. A lot of folks, including Nicholas Harbor, coming for that one. Obviously, too, I wanted to mention Jadeveon Clowney. They're retiring his jersey this weekend. I mentioned that earlier this week. Got a note today. Jadeveon is going to have a press conference about 6 o'clock before kickoff. So that'll be some interesting content for those of you following at home. I'd like to I haven't really heard Jadeveon Clowney, talk a lot about South Carolina. I mean, he hasn't been asked about it a whole lot since he left. It's been about 10 years. So kind of curious to hear what he's got to say about the Gamecocks and
no doubt
playing at Carolina. And I think having a guy that high profile, continues to pay dividends for the program. I think because everybody knows who Jadeveon. Like Spencer Rattler yesterday is like everybody in the world knows who Jadeveon Clowney is.
Right. Yeah.
So. That's the deal there. So Brian's asking about the recruits. Yes, but all that good stuff. And then Brian, we've seen you. I scroll through this sometimes fast.
Yeah. That's right. No, we can see you. It's just sometimes they just keep rolling.
Yeah. So got you in there. Interesting shirt choice, Phil Saunders.
Thank you.
Look at the slime on that dog behind JC. That's not slime, man.
I read that as smile, which is probably what it's supposed to be.
Smile. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not slime. Cooper. Yeah, there's no slime on that picture. Oh, no. Yeah, he comes down. He goes, look at that smile. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's red. Yeah. That's red. He good days. He smiles. He smiles well.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Brian, for that. Alex said, Phil, where did you get that shirt? That is me and my girlfriend's trivia name. Every week, need to make that our jersey.
Great trivia name. That's a great trivia name.
I actually bought one, too. I bought one for me and Phil.
Yeah.
The idea was we were going to both wear ours. Mine's different. It actually has Randy Watson, like a hologram of Randy Watson on it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll wear it Monday. I'll show everybody. We just got on. You just get on Amazon and look up sexual chocolate merchandise.
Yeah,
and
that is true.
Yeah, sexual chocolate merchandise. So David says when Michael Flint comes on, ask him if he has any original thoughts, or is he just plagiarizing the thoughts of his younger and older brothers? That's David Flint. Yep. In there.
Maybe I'll star that comment for later.
Yeah. J. Rock says Utah has low humidity, but it has been 100 degrees this week. Yeah, it's the heat. It does get up there, but it's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat. John Thompson says, "What's the over under of burned sofas last night in Morgantown?" Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
Probably 7. All right, so that's all good there. Yeah, so we're going to get into some pick'ems, and at the end with Meredith, me and Phil will give our picks on the Gamecocks score prediction for this weekend, right?
Oh yeah.
And then we're also going to give our thoughts and take and hopes and dreams on the rest of the schedule for this weekend. So we'll be right back. Michael Wando Flint joining us
at noon. Actually, he'll be in at noon.
Oh, he's in at noon. All right, so they're back to back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I did no show prep. Okay, so Wando's obviously not coming up in 3 minutes. So what we're going to do is take a break, come back, got some iHelp Consulting mailbag questions to answer. Phil and I will start breaking down the schedule for the weekend in hour 1, and then we'll get the takes of our guests, former Gamecock athletes. Doesn't get any better than that with Michael Flint and Meredith Taylor coming up in hour number 2. All right, we'll be back after these messages. You're listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show the day before the 2022 season kicks off in Columbia, South Carolina tomorrow night.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you're a listener, you know I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, half-hour, hour, on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at MERTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
Hey, Mo Cowboy here from the Carolina Gamecocks. You're listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show with JC and Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
the mighty sound of the Southeast, ladies.
Ready.
All right. So football last night. Some football today. Illinois, Indiana.
Yeah.
Who else is playing tonight? I'm like, well, Michigan State always kicks off on a Friday night against a directional Michigan school. So that's happening. I don't know, Friday football. It's for the high school teams. But anyway, so if I'm not mistaken, Phil, this will be the first time since 2017 when Skip Holtz, what we talked about earlier, brought Louisiana Tech in, that a former assistant has come in and coached his team against the Gamecocks. And, I remember, so 2017 Skip came in 2006, Rick Stockstill brought Middle Tennessee in. He was a former assistant. And then Ricky Bussell, who was only at Carolina for a year, brought Louisiana Lafayette in 03 and 07. Those were scary games. There was a lot of scary games in there. That Skip Holtz game was ridiculously scary.
Oh, yeah.
And those 2 games with Louisiana were scary, too. And so it's just kind of I just started thinking about it. This is the first time anybody in the modern era and I think I said this yesterday, that's ever been the head coach at South Carolina to bring in another team,
right
after he's left. And so that's a good, Sean was the head coach for 6 games in 2015, 1-5, lost to the Citadel, but there were some bright spots in there. And if I remember that Citadel loss, I mean,
that's the one that I think did him in, really.
Yeah, I never thought I saw it happen in 1990. Citadel won.
Yeah,
and I never thought I'd see that again in my lifetime, man.
Well, let's hope we don't ever have to see it again.
Yeah, hopefully, guys don't lose to the Citadel anymore.
No.
Please. So anyway, that's kind of a little take there on that. All right, iHelp Consulting mailbag we got to catch up on. Then we're going to start going through the football schedule for this weekend. SEC, some big ACC games on the docket. The whole state of North Carolina is on upset alert this weekend.
Right. Yep.
The 2 noon kickoffs. UNC goes to App to play. Right.
Yeah.
So the Tar Heels are going to Boone. Right. don't know how they're having enough seats, just to be honest. And then
their playing style of soft is not going to go well over there.
No, you can't. We're going to find out how soft North Carolina is here in the next couple of weeks. And then in a game that normally this happened a lot over the years, NC State goes to East Carolina. Greenville, North Carolina, they gave South Carolina all they wanted last year in that game. That game, I walked away from that game, Phil, because Carolina's defense last year played so well.
Yeah.
They hit the long pass right early on. So, okay, you got them there. Then I think they got a turnover and a touchdown. And then East Carolina's offense, which ended up being pretty good for their level, didn't go anywhere the rest of the game. So it's disappointing to me that the Gamecocks only won by 3. It's sort of, after that game was over, I sort of felt, wow, it's nice to get the win, but that should have been a whole lot less close.
Yeah, it's one of those you just don't.
So that's the thing there.
Don't feel good about it at the end of the day.
Yeah. But NC State's got high hopes this year, man. And they're talking, some people have picked them to go to the playoff. So we'll see. Dave Dorn's going to make me into an idiot by the time all is said and done. So there's that. So we're going to IO Consulting mailbag now. There's 2 ways to get into the mailbag. First, you could tweet to the show at the Big Spur Pod. We always respond to all of those. Or you can also email us at insidethegamecocks@gmail.com. So we're rolling. Xavier mentions here on the Twitter box, or in the Twitter thing, Twitter bag, I guess. Twitter bag, Twitter box. The tweeter, I don't know what to call it. I just saw an article saying university would now be able to keep Sir Big Spur. Have you heard this? Yeah, this tweet was 16 hours ago. So yeah. So that's cool. Gamecock Pastors, game day eve, my official score prediction. Here we go. Drum roll. Drum roll for Gamecock Pastor, because he has locked his prediction in. Gamecocks 34, Panthers 23. I hope it's much better than that. Who is your prediction for MVP of tomorrow's game? He says it thinks it's Rattler throwing for 280 and 3 touchdowns. Could be. Yep. I'm gonna go with Marshawn Lloyd, because that's
what I want to say. Yeah,
and I think that may be more hope than actual feel.
Right.
But if I'm breaking down this game, Phil, I'm thinking Carolina's going to go out there and they all have an advantage to run the football. If they line up and run it. And that's the way you neutralize a defense like Georgia State, that they're going to try to blitz you exotically all the time on passing downs. Then you don't have not getting obvious passing downs is a way to neutralize it and keep them on their toes. And Marshawn certainly would be a big part of that and all that good stuff. Chase says, in regards to education and a certain coach's comments, this was the Dabo thing. What about the professional connections that our guys may have the ability to make with those businesses they partner with? The possibilities are endless. Yeah, Chase, that was the point I made. It was like, what's more educational and supports the mission of a university, which, there's probably some people that work at universities that don't think that the purpose of them is to prepare you for life, and I don't know that it always does. But that is fundamentally what it's for. That's, in our country, that's what, you go to college, you get ready for life. I personally think you can get ready for life not going to college or doing, learning a trade or a skill or whatever. I don't think we focus enough on that, because when you have a society with a bunch of people that have a lot of debt and have degrees and no skill set and no job prospects, and then you can't find a plumber or an electrician. Those guys make hundreds of thousands of dollars, man. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So that's but I, you're right, Chase. Absolutely. I thought, and I don't really know what Dabo was trying to say. I don't know if he's taking a shot or what, but what South Carolina's doing is the epitome of education, right? It's just doing it at a very high level. There's not. What you always want to do as a school is maximize the opportunities for your students. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. Alex on the poll question said UNC and App State's what he's looking forward to the most. It says go App. So there are the tweets. There are the tweets. Thanks. By the way, thanks to NIL Newsstand. They cover all NIL stuff because you can follow them at NIL Newsstand on Twitter. They retweeted our interview with Hillary and Chance from earlier this week. We certainly appreciate that. Okay, second way you can get into the mailbag is email us, insidethegamecocks@gmail.com. All right, so who do we have? We have Noah coming in, right? Hey, JC and Phil, with the season finally starting up, can we get some playoff picks on who makes it this year? Oh, Noah's picking NC State. Alabama, NC State, 1-4. Ohio State and Utah, number 3, with Bama beating Ohio State for the championship. I would probably, Phil, those other two teams, I don't know. I think Alabama and Ohio, this is one of those years where everybody's going to want to see Alabama, Ohio State at the end because those are the two best teams in the country.
Yeah, I think so. And that's how I've got it kind of playing out is Alabama, Ohio State, and then 3 and 4 is kind of a toss up. You probably got about 6 teams that could be 3 or 4 this year.
Yeah, I mean, some people like Southern Cal, some people like Texas, some people think another SEC team like Georgia. I'm going to say, a team I like. I mean, some people say Michigan because of their schedule. They think they can go undefeated again. I'm going to say, I think, with my 2 or 3, I can probably lock one of those in. I think Oklahoma's going to the playoff under Brent Venables. Trust me. And it's going to be Oklahoma's going, and Southern Cal's not.
Yeah. I agree there because I was like, who's going to win the Big 12? And I just keep thinking is just going to win.
Yeah.
If they come out on top, they're going to make it. They're going to put them in.
They're good, and I think Kansas State's kind of a dark horse in the Big 12 for me.
I heard you mention that on JC and Morgan. Yeah,
I like Baylor quite a bit. Mike Morgan and I. By the way, there was a new JC and Morgan this week, so you guys check that out. But I like Baylor, but they lost a lot of players off last year's team, and they were really good. So, are they going to be sustainably awesome now? I don't know. So we'll see. And they've been really good for all but about the transition between Art Briles and arriving at where they were at with Matt Rule and then going to Dave Aranda. They weren't down for very long, after the scandal.
Right.
So Baylor plays some good football. But I something just tells me people are sleeping on Oklahoma because of the transfers out. They've got a good quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. They've got a good offensive coordinator in Jeff Levy. And Brent Venables will probably get more out of that defense than his predecessor did. And they're good. They're talented. And I'm not picking Texas to do anything.
No.
Right. I'm picking Texas to score like 9 points against Alabama in week 2. I'm done with them. Every time you think they're going to be good, they're not. I mean, they just softly bow out. So no more Texas for that. I like your picks there, Noah. Thanks. Jonathan chimes in. Cannot wait to hear Todd Ellis call when Juice gets loose. I'm with you. Juice Wells, another guy to look out for tomorrow night. The new receiver, he's going to
go out there and kill him.
He goes, does it hurt or help Cam at the next level playing nickel? He's talking about Cam Smith. He said that's usually the role for a third or fourth corner in certain situations, but it kind of depends on the defense. They think the logic by moving him there is to get the best 3 on the field. They think he's going to actually make more big plays at the nickel spot. So Smith, I don't think it's going to hurt his draft stock at all because there's enough tape on him at corner shutting down his side of the field to where in the NFL, he'll play corner, but having that versatility and being able to help the defense make more big plays this year obviously will increase his stock. It's one of those things that you look at, and it's not so much about how Cam Smith plays, Phil. It's probably about how Marcellus Dow and Darius Rush play, because teams start picking on those guys. One of those guys has an off year, you better move Smith. You better slide Smith back.
Yeah, you put Smith back and probably put Spalding in the nickel.
Put Spalding, and Spalding's an experienced nickel, pretty good, all that. So that's kind of my question there. But yeah, thanks, Jonathan, for that. InsideTheGameCocks@gmail.com. Isaiah says, greetings, JC and Phil. Hope you guys are doing well on the podcast. I always hear you guys talk about Nicholas Harbor running track. And my question is, has he had any contact with the South Carolina track coach? Yes. Curtis Fry. They're selling him on a lot of things, man. And that visit for the Georgia game is going to be huge. And my understanding is all the other DMV targets and kids are going to be in for that game that weekend. So if you're looking for some good recruiting news, pay attention that weekend, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We've emptied the mailbag, I think.
Man, all right. I think so too.
Caught up with it, right?
That's good. We were backed up, man, so I was getting a little worried.
Yeah, me too. Well, Phil, tell them, obviously, the show is presented by Manscaped.
That's right. We are presented by Manscaped.
And
let's see. We've been a good partner, so that's nice. They've been giving us all kind of neat stuff to play with and try out, and it's all worked out really well. But they are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. They offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 5 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code BIGSPUR at manscaped.com. And I was thinking I actually used some of the deodorant the other day and how pleasant it smells.
Yeah, I used it last night before we went to the kids' football game because you're out there, it's still warm outside, and your little sweat, sweat build up or whatever. You don't want the people in front of you, not having a pleasant whiff.
Yeah, they make a fragrance as well. I'm assuming it smells about the same, which is something
it smells pretty good. I like it. I like it. So anyway, man, go to manscaped.com, code Big Spur, 20% off, free shipping worldwide. We certainly appreciate their sponsorship here, and we'll talk more about them too in hour number 2. Back to the Nana Sports chat box. And I did want to say this. I listened to Marcus Satterfield and Clayton White's press conference yesterday after we got off. Or Wednesdays. I caught up on it yesterday. Something just tells me those two guys are much more locked. In any new situation, you're a first-time coordinator in the SEC on either side of the ball. Any situation, that's new, you're going to kind of feel your way through. The impression that I got from those two guys, just hearing them speak to the media over the course of the preseason, Phil, is that they seem more locked in, right?
Yeah.
They seem more comfortable with what they're doing, more locked in. I think they've both talked about the fact that they're going to be able to do more stuff, and defining stuff that would be like, different plays, different formations. Clayton White mentioned, that the guys came back and everything that they spent all last season teaching them, it took them one day to kind of remind everybody.
Yeah, right? It was basically all retained, which is what you want to hear.
In that situation too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. This kind of how all that evolves. I mean, we've talked so much, Phil, about Georgia State's defense. Clayton White's defense fundamentally is kind of exotic and exciting as well. And Carolina did a lot of that early on last year. I think as the season went on and the offense just had its issues, they sort of started playing back a little bit just to kind of, don't give up the big bend, but don't break. We talk about sometimes protecting your defense. They were kind of protecting the offense a little bit. But anyway, I think I'm just kind of curious. We haven't – there's so much focus on the offense. I'm kind of really curious to see what Clayton White has in store for Georgia State.
I know.
Saturday night.
I'm excited about the defense this year. Even it's not getting a lot of talk, there's freshmen on the depth chart, but I just got a feeling it's going to look really good.
Yeah, I got a good feeling about them too. Better at linebacker at least. Macadino Podcast is in the house. Thanks for joining us, Macadino. We love when you guys come in and chill. Daddy-O says, keep your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Sexual chocolate. Old Mark Henry from WWE. Cocky Gaming points out about the burnt couches in Morgantown, Phil. Somebody said over 7. Gaming points out the over-under is never a whole number. It's got to be 6.5 or 7.5. I burnt 7.5 sofas.
Seven sofas in a love seat.
Man, Barry is ready to get to Willie B. USC go Cox. He's ready to do that, he says. Brian has some predictions for us, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
He's going Utah over Florida 38-17. Bold.
It is pretty bold.
But you know what, Brian? Other than the elements, like, I don't think that's a crazy. I think it's bold. I don't think it's nut job crazy, right? LSU over Florida State 34-24. That sounds about right to me. Georgia over Oregon 41-27. Oregon will score 27. Oh,
yeah, good luck. I like the 41 there, but I'm thinking probably a little closer to 13.
Now, okay, so Phil Steele was on JC and Morgan with us, and he said, well, Georgia lost all these guys. He's like, last year they gave up 13 points a game. This year I picked them to give up 16. So we'll see. BJ says Sean Elliott might be our head coach right now if they would have beaten Clemson that year. I think had he beaten Citadel and then Clemson along with Vandy, you know, what would that have made it? 3-3. So they were 2-4. So they finished 5-7 with that team. There's a strong possibility.
Yeah, probably would have offered him the job. No.
Yeah, probably so. Elizabeth goes, go App State yet again. And Daddy says Sean Elliott was given the keys to a bus with bad plugs. It was almost a no-win for him. Yeah, and like I said, during those 6 games, that team played harder and better. You know, they were sort of lackluster and blah. And then, you know, he took over. They all played their butts off at A&M, their butts off at Tennessee. Almost beat, only lost by 5 to Clemson. Played pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Cocky Gaming says the holding call that took away the touchdown in the Citadel game. Yeah, that was not good. That was just very disappointing because it's kind of crazy. Chris says, how many touches from running back do you see Bell getting? Feeling like it's going to be a lot. Carries from scrimmage for Jaheim Bell, Phil?
Oh, I don't know. It's like, well, what Satterfield said, he just let me said to Jaheim, let me know when it's too much. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm like, you got good running backs anyway. We don't have to get too creative. Although, we know he's going to carry it out of the backfield, but I don't know. If he gets 5 a game, maybe. Yeah.
I like that.
5, 6. Yeah.
I think he had 5 in the bowl game. I think against, I like the way they used him against Eastern Illinois and in the bowl game. But, Satterfield also said the press conference, it just kind of depends. And this can either be scary or not scary, depending on your kind of worldview of things. But he did mention, week to week, things will change depending on the game plan. They're very multiple. They got a lot of plays. So there we go. Will says, actually, J-Rock says horns down. Will McLean makes a good point here. Will Anderson is going to wreck Texas next week. Yeah, I would be afraid of him. Quinn Ewers meet Will Anderson.
Yeah, that's right.
Will also says J.C. Horn plays a lot of nickel for the Panthers. Cam Smith's just fine there. J-Rock says South Carolina's quietly been DBU over the last decade or so. I wonder who the next guy will be after Cam Smith. Nick Emenware.
Yeah, Emenware.
I think Anthony Rose is going to be good too. I still need to check on him to see what's going on. Yeah. Brad and Brian both talk about the expanded playoff. They're going to vote on expanding it to 12 teams. I like the 12-team model they came up with. I have no idea why they decided to wait. And you saw what happened because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the ACC got together and voted it down, or voted to table it. We don't want to expand right now. And, the ACC commissioner starts talking about women's volleyball and academics and all this stuff. And then meanwhile, the Big Ten, that, paragon of virtue, and, up in Rosemont, Illinois, is where their headquarters are. They're just like talking all this love to the Pac-12 and all that. And, by the way, Southern Cal and UCLA are joining our league.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Brutus.
Cam says you're only as good as your competition. stop hoping that Florida loses tonight. Well, they play Saturday, but your point's taken. SEC, need Florida to beat Utah, SEC. Cameron says, let's go Cox. And to your point, Cam, about the SEC, it's just fine. SEC teams are going to win anyway. I think some people are like pulling for Utah because of recruiting against Florida. They did flip a linebacker, and Billy Napier is always going to be a topic of conversation around Gamecock Nation, especially when Shane Beamer's there, because that, those two guys, anytime you have multiple guys in the mix for a job, those two guys are going to get compared by that fan base. And I think a lot of people are pulling very hard for Shane and probably don't want to pull that hard for Billy. So Stacy says, do you think Georgia State is able to run that Coach White will bring in an extra linebacker in that nickel spot or a better run stopping DB? I think Cam's pretty good at stopping the run. I think against this attack, you're going to have good linebacker play. And I'll say this, and this is kind of a way to answer your question, based on what I know, but it's not, don't take it to the bank kind of thing. I have heard that there are, some situations where they have used in preseason 3 linebackers. So what you'd have is Brad Johnson, Muhammad Kaba, and Sherrod Green on the field at the same time. Green would be kind of that Nicholish. Is that a name? Nicholish. Oh, stop! I'm so Nicholish. Anyway, it's a Nicholish. He's kind of that Nicholish guy in the linebacker course. So you brought up a good point, Stacy. That's an excellent thoughts there. Brian says, I'm not hoping Florida loses. I just think Utah is much, much better. And J. Rice said it should have been 12 to start with. Oh, the playoff. Probably.
Probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All that good stuff. So
I don't mind the 9. I think, I don't mind the 9 SEC game schedule with 12 being the number in the playoff. I think, I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. And I think they're going to have to obviously, I don't know what they need to do with the playoff committee, or whether they need to use some computer data sometimes or something. But they, the worry with me is that, because you still have situations where in the 4-team format, Phil, they don't really care about strength of schedule. Because undefeated Notre Dame got in a few years ago and played nobody. They played a lot of name brand teams, Florida State, Southern Cal, Virginia Tech, all those teams stunk that year. And, compared to their history. So, Notre Dame keeps getting in. You saw Cincinnati get in last year. You go to 12, the worry, excuse me, gosh, what happened to my throat there? The worry is going to be, if you go to 12 to me, is you're going to see a 10-2 NC State get in over 8-4 LSU, and that's going to be completely unfair.
Yeah.
Just because they love to rank the double-digit win teams and the undefeated, so they kind of value it like the old way, but it's a new way of doing it. So that's kind of my thing there. And I actually hope they use that exact format that Sankey had. I like the fact that you got 12, and then your top 6 conference champions get in. So there could be a year where you have 2 group of 5 teams in the play, because if the Pac-12, like a 7-5 Oregon State, makes it to the Pac-12 championship game and wins, that champion is probably not going to be one of the top 6 champions. You're probably going to have at least 2 group of 5s from the American, maybe the Sun Belt above them. And so, that could be an interesting type of deal there.
And giving everybody a shot too, it was like, okay, prove it.
It's the most inclusive model. And I think that's why, Sankey was just so put off by it, because this is the thing that is the most inclusive. So, it's the most, it gives everybody the most chances. The SEC doesn't have to do that, and so I think it's they were so bad about it. But anyway, so they're going to vote on that later today. If that news comes across, we will certainly let you know.
Yeah.
and all that stuff. J-Rock asked, okay. Cameron said, or actually Stacy says, alert Webster, new word, Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Oh. Cameron says, hot take, Boogie Huntley will be the best defensive lineman by year's end. I think that's an excellent hot take.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Been high on Boogie for a while. I think that guy's going to really make people proud. The only, you don't want to overhype a lot of guys like right away. You gotta see him play first. But my assumption is he's going to be an upgrade over Jabari Ellis in that spot. He's bigger than Jabari, who's a little undersized. And Jabari played well the last 2 years. So that's got to be exciting.
Yeah.
And Daniel says, Phil, sexual white chocolate Mullinax. Way to go, Daniel.
I'll take
Saunders says, I don't mind an extended playoff, but when was the last time a number 12 team legitimately had a shot at a number 1 through 3 team? I don't know. Here's the thing, too, Saunders. You make these teams, instead of playing a 4-game playoff against the, like Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, can form their own conference they play so frequently.
Right.
You make those teams go through a legitimate playoff. I think you're going to have some more upsets, so we'll just have to see what happens with that. I get it though. There is it's hard to win the national championship in football.
Right.
Line. All right, we're at the top of the hour. So Michael Flynn, Mondo, is going to join us on the other side. Going to get his take on the games this weekend, the Gamecock game, all that good stuff. Again, hour number 1 presented by Cindy Searfoss Realtor. We'll go to the Meredith Taylor guest line for Michael Flint after these messages as hour number 1 of the show, the day before kickoff 2022 for South Carolina. So we'll be back right after these messages.
If you're a listener, I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch. Nana'sPorch.com. Go there, food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting Nana'sPorch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
What's up? This is Jaheim Bell with the Gamecocks, and you're now listening to Inside the Gamecock Show with JC and Phil.
All right. Welcome back to the show. JC Sherbert, Phil Mullinax. We're now joined by Michael Flint. Second appearance on the show. Mike, how's it going today, man?
It's good. How are y'all doing?
Good, doing well, man.
Amazing. All right, so let's get it's game week. So let's get right to it. Scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you? This to start. I mean, everybody's always excited about every season starting. Let's be honest. But a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you now compared to maybe some past years, knowing what you know about this football team?
You know, it's definitely out of 10. I think every season coming into it, you're just excited about, you know, the team. You know, I guess you kind of you get through talking season and all that, and you hear the different aspect, you know, the different parts, the strengths, weaknesses of the team, and everything else. And it's just more so now getting into it. But I think a lot of the hype surrounding the team this year, a lot of the, I say question marks, a lot of the new guys that have come in, some of the freshmen you hear about. I think there's a renewed energy and I think a renewed excitement from a lot of the fan base compared to what we've seen in the past. I think a lot of the things around the stadium that they've done, the added game day experience, I think is really impactful as well. You know, especially for an opening game. Like with Georgia State, you know, if it was a SEC opener, I know there's been a lot of excitement around that, but I think just all the new added enhancements, features, players, you know, coaches, I think it's all just, you know, coming together. And I think this is kind of more of a special season than what we're used to kind of coming into in the past.
Yeah, I'm with you there. You mentioned the new enhancements at the stadium, of course, the LED lights, the strobes. There's a new sound system. That may be something that people aren't talking about now. That may be a big difference because I've always kind of not been a fan of the sound system at Williams-Brice. So that's something else. It's you know, allegedly. So this new sound system has speakers positioned throughout the stadium rather than just like one big loud one. That I've sat under before and almost couldn't hear anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it. So you look at this game, obviously, they've talked about it all off season on both sides of the ball at Carolina. Run the ball better. Well, defense stop the run. I think that's probably, you know, those, if you had to ask me the top two keys this weekend for the Gamecocks, I think that's probably what I'd arrive at. You know, what do you think about the run game in general on both sides, and you know, how much better can it be this year, and what are your expectations?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. You know, coming into not only this game but this year, I think, you know, with the strengths of what Georgia State is good at, Georgia State has always done well when they establish the run. They're going to run the football. When they have success running the football, they're successful as a team. Georgia State, you know, they throw the ball off of having success running the football. So that's one thing that they have to do coming into it. And like you said, you know, I've always said in the SEC, you win and lose football games in the trenches. And I think the offensive line coming into this is one of one of the position groups that has the most to prove out of anybody coming off of what we did, what happened last season. And, that's the one thing that I look at. You look at the season last year as a whole versus what they did in the bowl game, and there was something different that happened. What was it? Was it a simplifying? Was it something with the scheme that changed a little bit? But the guys just looked to gel a lot more. They played faster. They didn't look confused. They fired off the ball. That's one thing I look towards with our run game. I think for us, establishing the run is huge, especially early on. And those guys firing off the football will be able to tell real early kind of the direction of the game, I think. Georgia State's strength is on defense. They return a lot of guys, but we also return a lot of guys up front as well on that offensive line. And I think that's one group that realizes and knows that they have a lot to prove this year. And I think you're going to get all those guys. Those guys are going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to go. And, I think for us, establishing that run and, having that strength in the trenches and those guys being able to dominate up front is going to be I think an early sign, but a good sign if we're able to establish that throughout the course of the game. And I think, we'll really keep, energy up, being able to move the football early.
Yeah.
Talking to Michael Flynn, you got something, Phil?
Yeah, I was going to say, Michael, so we're getting ready for a night game, right? And what's that look like on your end, from a player's perspective? Are you watching in games early? Or are you, just kind of taking it eeasy, running through mental reps? What's going on?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, you know the game plan. You're in the hotel. You're watching games. You try to stay at least active. You don't really want to lay around all day. Kind of keep the energy up. But you're definitely watching games, looking at prep, all the playbook, looking at game prep stuff and looking at the game plan and all that. But a lot of it is, kind of just hanging out and relaxing. But night games with the energy level, you always know as a player going into night games that the energy is going to be there in the stadium. The fans are going to be there. It's going to be electric. And I think for this being the opening game for our guys, they're going to be excited. They're going to be jacked up. They're going to be playing fast because of all the energy flowing through and all hyped up, but it's, coming out playing fast, but playing smart as well. No dumb penalties. Don't play out, try to do anything outside of yourself, stick to the game plan and really just focus on what you have to do. And I think a lot of that will everything else kind of work itself out. The first couple of drives, it's going to be, it's going to be like a chess match, I think, between the coordinators and really trying to figure out what Georgia State's going to do. The personnel, you don't always know the personnel that's coming in. I mean, we have a lot of new guys that Georgia State doesn't have a lot of film on. Georgia State has the same thing on their side. So it's really trying to play within yourself, try not to do things that you're not typically used to doing. You don't really want to take too many crazy chances because once, early in the game, you want to stay focused on the game plan and what you're supposed to do because you don't know what they're going to do. I think Marcus Satterfield coming into this game has a lot to prove. And, and I think that he's going to be he's going to be all over it. And I think that with the game plan that these coaches are able to put together, I'm really looking forward to seeing that and really how we open up the game and come out the first couple drives based on what we think Georgia State's going to do defensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. One thing Satterfield during his press conference said, Michael, he was asked about Juice Wells, he was asked about Josh Vann and some of the other receivers. He kept talking about route running over and over and over again. And it seems to me like that's been a big point of emphasis. I don't know that it was always great last year from a lot of those guys. You're a route runner, receiver. Is that one of those things that's just reps and all that? Or are there people that are naturally good route runners? Kind of in that specific position, just kind of dive into that because that's something you can answer that maybe nobody else can, right?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I think part about being a good route runner, there is a lot of natural ability that comes along with it. How quick do you explode off the ball? How quick are you in and out of your routes? How quick can you eat up the space between you and the defensive back? Because, obviously what you want to do is you want to eat up that cushion if the defensive back's playing off and force him to try and commit one way or another without really knowing what you're doing. And that's a huge piece. Explosiveness is a big piece of it. And you could see throughout the last couple of years with De'Carrion Joyner, he's a great athlete, but it took him some time to really figure out how to play receiver. And, there's a lot that goes into it. Like I said, coming in and out of routes, how quick do you get in and out of your route, and the speed that you get in and out of your route with to create that separation. As a receiver, what you always want to do is you want to be able to create separation between you and the defensive back, whether it's straight line down the field or getting in and out of your breaks, because as we all know, it's a split second that you have when you come out of your route, knowing what the quarterback's doing, that ball could be on you. And if you have a yard or 2 yards of separation versus not much separation at all, that could be the difference between you getting an additional 30 yards upfield or you getting tackled as soon as you catch the ball. And I think that's a lot of what those guys have. I think I've always been high on Josh Vann. I think Josh Vann's always had a lot of talent. He's very explosive in and out of his breaks. As soon as he catches the ball, I saw it a couple of years ago that his first step is very quick. And that's, a lot of that is hard work in the offseason, but a lot of it's just is natural ability. And I think that's a big piece of it. And, that goes along with running routes. Also, a lot of times quarterbacks are throwing to a spot, and it's all about timing, getting in and out of your breaks. And if you get pushed offline by a defensive back, that could be the difference in a completion and an interception. And so, just an example, if you're running a curl route, the quarterback knows where you're going to be. But if you get pushed inside too much, that ball is going to get thrown outside, and that could be a pick six. I think there is a lot that goes into playing receiver. It's not just getting out there, lining up and running a route. It's a very technical position, and you have to be, really good at what you do, and you have to understand concepts. You really want to understand the concept of a play, not only to know what route you're running, but what the other receivers are running, because it all plays off together. You're either, you could be high-low in a safety or high-low in a corner or trying to find a gap in the zone. And if you run the wrong route, it throws the whole play off. And so there is a lot that goes into it, and just understanding the concept of what, of what the play call is. And, a lot of what those guys like Josh Vann and Juice Wells bring to the table is consistency and making a play when you have the ball in your hands. And I think that's the biggest thing for us going into this year, is having those playmakers that you can get them the ball and they're a threat to take it another 40 or 50 yards as soon as they touch it, like a Juju McDowell or a Jaheim Bell. And it's being able to get your playmakers the ball, but knowing that your playmakers are going to be in the right spot and not, create potential for turnovers.
Talking to Michael Flint. All right, so this weekend, SEC football, not just the Gamecocks. Our poll question today was which of the big four SEC games are you looking forward to the most? And those are Utah, Florida, Georgia, Oregon, LSU, Florida State is on a Sunday, and then Cincinnati and Arkansas. People are saying, obviously everybody's going to want to watch Arkansas because the Gamecocks play them next week, but anything there in the SEC sort of stand out to you outside of South Carolina as far as the game goes tomorrow?
I think the Georgia-Oregon game is very intriguing because a lot of what I experience playing teams outside of the SEC, or maybe even potentially outside of the South, is the speed of the game is a lot different. And I say speed of the game, the overall team speed of other teams. Not just a couple of guys, but all 11 guys on the field, and just in athleticism. And Oregon's always had a good team. They've always been athletic, but coming over and playing a team like Georgia, who is his athletic up and down all over the field, throughout there too deep, and really seeing how Oregon responds to getting hit in the mouth by the big boys, by a team like Georgia. Oregon's ranked top 15. They're a good team, and it's seeing how they react in that type of environment, playing a team like Georgia. Now, granted, Georgia is probably one of the best teams in the country. It's coming off a national championship. Lost a lot of guys, but they replaced those guys with guys that are really just as good. And so interesting to see how Oregon reacts once that game kicks off, and seeing the overall team speed of Georgia versus Oregon.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Oregon's recruited pretty well out there. They went into Los Angeles and got a bunch of players under Mario Cristobal. I don't know about Dan Lanning. He's kind of a mystery guy to me. Georgia did lose a lot of personnel, but you're right. Anytime the SEC, to me, plays a Pac-12 or somebody like that, a Big 12, whoever, it does seem like, that speed of the game factor it comes in all the time. That's why Ohio State recruits all these fast guys out of the South, because they're gonna when they go to play Bama, they're gonna need it, right?
Yeah. I think there's a different level of toughness as well that goes along with it. And I don't know if it's a geographic thing or playing football in the South. I mean, it's I've always said high school football is huge in the South. Doesn't matter where you are. And, these kids work extremely hard, at a young age coming up. So, a lot of it is toughness as well. So that's a lot of what I'm looking towards is, how those guys react to getting hit in the mouth. It's what is it, Mike Tyson or whoever said it, everybody gets playing until they get punched in the face. So
hit in the grill. Yeah. I mean, and Georgia's going to hit them in the mouth. I mean, that's and then the next week when Alabama goes to Texas, Alabama's going to hit Texas in the mouth. And we'll see how quickly they fold.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I think. All right. So are you heading to Williams-Brice tomorrow?
Sure am.
Gonna be down there in the little condo area. I won't give away your location, but let's just say I'm always jealous of wherever Michael Flynn is on game day, and some of my other friends from down there. But so you're getting there. So what are your pregame traditions as a fan? Like I know as a player all day you're trying to stay energized, but what do you do for a night game as a fan?
Yeah, it's always fun. I mean, having people come over. A lot of times, a lot of guys that I played with, or maybe not necessarily didn't play with, will come over and hang out. So it's always good to see everyone. Hang out with everybody, cooking, grilling. The kids are all running around outside having a good time, and just kind of the camaraderie between all the fans and the people around you and all that. And it's just being able to drink a handful of cold beers before as well, and kind of get a little bit of that liquid courage.
Liquid courage going on, man. That's that'll be something else. Well, all right. So finally, we're at the end of our conversation here with Michael Flint. The day before the opener, we're happy we got you on the day, man. Give us any final thoughts on the game and your score prediction.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the first 2 to 3 drives of the game for both teams are going to be really critical. If we can force Georgia State into some mistakes early and really kind of take control of the game, I think it can be. I think we can do a lot of good things. I know the spread is a lot less than what people think, and I think a lot of how we get to that fourth quarter and what the score is will really be how we react and with those first 3 drives of the game, offensively and defensively, whether we're going to be able to sustain the line of scrimmage up front on defense and how we look running the football on offense and how comfortable Rattler is back there and being able to sustain drives and score points, not just field goals, but be able to score touchdowns. And I really have a lot of confidence in Marcus Satterfield and Spencer Rattler. And I think these guys have a lot to prove. And I know coming into a game like this with Georgia State, you never take lightly being a non-conference game, a non-Power 5 game. Those guys are going to come in excited. There's a lot of guys from South Carolina. You got Coach Elliott being from South Carolina, having coached it at South Carolina as well. There's going to be a lot of excitement surrounding it. And I think, we got a lot of guys on our side that have a whole lot to prove that have been doubted, that are going to have that extra focus on really coming out and playing well early and not really being as, I don't want to say nonchalant, but being as lethargic or not as focused as you should be and coming out with too much energy. But I think the focus is going to be there. And I really think, South Carolina, it may be a little tight at the half with both teams kind of playing that chess match and not really knowing the personnel on the other side, not really knowing what either side is really going to do or how they're kind of going to put their focus on how they're game planning. With Georgia State, Georgia State's going to run the football and they got to have success running it to be able to set up for the pass. So, they could try something a little different just to try to throw us off a little bit. You never know. But I think, going into the second half, I think it may be a little tighter than people may like. But I think the Gamecocks pull away in the second half. I think we have so many weapons now that we're not used to having. And I don't know if Georgia State can really be able to stay with those guys the way we can stretch the field, not only vertically, but horizontally as well. I think it's going to be tight, but I think we pull away in the third and fourth quarter. I think we end up winning 4.
You're kidding me. Here we go, man.
I think we end up winning. I think we end up winning 41-14.
41-14, man. That was because it was like you got to the score and it was like, I was like, oh man. Hey, welcome to live streaming radio.
Yeah,
hey,
no doubt.
Wando, have a couple of cold ones for yours truly, and hope to run into you at a game this year, kind of like I did last year and all that. But enjoy the day tomorrow. Well, you only have one opening game a year, right?
That's right. Hey, I think it's good. I like the excitement. I like what's going on with the program. I think they're headed in the right direction. There's going to be some bumps in the road and some hiccups potentially, but the trajectory of where we're going and the type of personnel that we have, the type of players that the coaching staff are recruiting and getting commitments from is just, I think it's brought a whole new level of excitement to the program to where the game day experience is improved a lot, and you're going to see a lot more fans in the stands, which is always good for recruiting. It's always good for the players because the louder and more butts that are in the seats, the more those guys want to go out there and play even harder and, keep them amped up. So I'm excited for the season.
All right. Michael Flynn, appreciate you joining us today on the show. We'll have you back really, really soon. And enjoy Saturday, man. Thanks, man.
We sure will. Enjoy it, fellas. Always do. I appreciate it. Go Cox.
Okay. Thanks,
Go
Michael.
Cox.
All right.
That's a good thing. You can catch if you want to watch that interview with Michael Flint. I redid the YouTube page for the show, and we have a section for him called Wando's World. And so all of his interviews will be there if you just want 24 hours of Michael Flynn or whatever. We have something for everyone's taste. All right, we're gonna take a break. Come back with our second guest, final guest of the week, final segment of the week. It's tradition at this point. We'll go to the Meredith Taylor guest line and talk to Meredith Taylor. So that'll be good. And when we get back, Phil's going to tell you about Manscaped one more time. And then we'll go from there and get Meredith here. She's got a lot of some golf topics to talk about. If you'd like to ask her a golf question or a Carolina question, whatever question, hit the chat box up. We're going to get her score prediction as well, and maybe talk about some other games and things like that there toward the very end. All right, so on the other side, Meredith Taylor off the Meredith Taylor guest line. Let's go after these messages.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, hour on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at MERTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Yeah. Hey, folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch. nanasporch.com. Go there. Food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
And like my kid, this is JC's fiance, Nat. Life is all about making sacrifices. I now sleep next to the human troll doll. I'm taking one for the team. Go Gamecocks. Now back to JC and Phil.
All right. Now back to JC and Phil. Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show. We're going to welcome Meredith Taylor in on the Meredith Taylor guest line in a second. But first, Phil's got to tell you about Manscaped again.
That's right. Oh, Manscaped. Hold on just a second, y'all. Vamp for a little bit. Well, no, I mean, I can talk about just my personal experiences with it. We really enjoyed it. It's simple to use. I was going to bring it up here, but I didn't get a chance to run down the stairs.
Yeah,
my lawnmower 4.0.
Yeah.
No, ceramic blade, skin safe technology, 4000K LED. So you're going to be able to see everything, get a nice precise shave. Join the 5 million guys worldwide, and with the Ultimate Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package, get it at manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping worldwide with code BIGSPUR.
Yep, do it. 20% off, code BIGSPUR. Now we're going to welcome in Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer, golfing professional, golfing teacher, sports expert, great guest. And probably has probably the best set behind her of any of our guests.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I had to come with a good set. It's game week. Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah, you did a great job. So, well, we got some talking points here to get on the subject of golf, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the game this weekend, obviously. But it's so you look at Rory McIlroy. Won the FedEx Cup, $18 6 shots back.
Yeah, big shout out to Rory.
Yeah, your thoughts?
That was insane. If anybody watched it, he came from 6 shots back to beat Scotty Scheffler. Incredible high level golf from those guys. I mean, that's what they talk about is the PGA Tour is the best in the world, and they showed it on the biggest stage. With the biggest purse, going after $18 million, and second place was like 6.5. It was ridiculous. But being the face of the PGA and all the media obligations and all the pressure that comes with that to come back from 6 shots was a very, very big deal. Great, good for him and good for the PGA Tour.
Yeah, you've been talking about that because obviously there's competition now on the for the PGA Tour, and it's good to see that banner toted. I've found that people have a lot of strong opinions on both sides.
It's true. Not everybody has my opinion, but that's okay. It's definitely been a lot of drama this year for golf, which we generally don't have. It's been a lot of both sides kind of hashing out their opinions, and but it's good for ultimately the tour. The tour is going to get better. The tour, I think, will benefit from it. I don't think it's a competition. We've talked about this before. The 54 holes, no cut. And Tiger saying, well, that's not a tournament. We play 72 holes. Scotty would have won last week if it weren't 72 holes, but we play 72 holes here on the PGA Tour. and there's a reason for that. And so, yeah, Gary Player came out this week and said that series has no chance of being competition for our tour. It's just different. It's totally different. And nobody really understands the team event part of it. And he had some strong words. He was like, listen, that's kind of become the guys that know they can't win on the PGA Tour went over to that tour. So it's not really a pure competition, I think, for the PGA Tour, but it's a lot of drama, a lot of talking points. But the PGA Tour, honestly, is in the healthiest place it's been, the best it's ever been, the youngest it's ever been. So there's nothing that's going to stop that PGA Tour being the best place for the best in the world.
On the women's side, over some really good play at the Canadian Open. Paula Reto over in LA Quarter.
Paula Reto, she's from South Africa. And big shout out to her. I met her probably about 10 years ago. Wonderful human being, and has been out there grinding for a long time. To get her first win on the LPGA Tour is a big deal. To do it at one of it's kind of the equivalent of Players Championship for the guys that just watch the PGA Tour. It's kind of like that fifth major, really, really good field. Not a major, but it's the best of the best in terms of the field and the competition. And she had to beat out Nelly Korda, #1 in the world. So that gives her a lot of confidence moving forward, getting over that hump. It's tough to win a golf tournament. It's tough to close it out, and to close it out against the best in the world. That I expect big things from her moving forward after getting that huge win there this past week.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Meredith, how much, is the mental aspect of golf? Like, everybody talks about it, and that you got to be in the right headspace and all of that.
Yes.
But is it something that you can actually recover from? Say you're playing around and something screws up at, say hole 2. Can you pull it back together if you've got it in you to do so by the time you get around? And what does that look like?
Well, the elite of the elite do.
Right.
Look at Rory McIlroy last week. He started out with a double or a triple on his first hole. That would derail most people's confidence, and most people would just be completely embarrassed and tank just because they don't have that mental fortitude to be like, okay, it's fine. I've got plenty of, and he ended up shooting 68. Right. So that's what makes him elite, is he can turn the page, check into the next hole. I got plenty of birdies left. I got 17 holes left, and to just grind it out. And that's the mental, you develop that over years and years. I tell people, when I go out and play and they're like, man, you just make it look so easy. I'm like, well, there's a lot of hard work that makes it look easy. We put 10,000 hours in to make it look easy. So yeah, it's a lot of reps, and the mental part, the course management part comes with years of just being in that competition, putting yourself in those positions of being under the gun, teeing it up with the, like Saturday night in Williams-Brice, when the lights are on, the best of the, that's when the players play.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a big part of it for sure.
I was going to say, we got a question from Daniel in the Nana Sports chat box. So, Meredith, how important is golf equipment when you're not able to play enough to get good? Should you buy a beginner set of clubs, or should you dive in with the good stuff right off the top?
I would not spend as much money as you. I would not go spending a paycheck on clubs if you're not playing. I always tell people, start with something simple. Get reps in first, get your swing up to a place where you can actually go get fitted for clubs. Because if your swing is so inconsistent and you don't play, there's no point in going and getting fitted for clubs when you have no idea what swing is, one swing to the next is totally different. But once you get consistently good, that's when you start to dial in your equipment, the golf ball. You can nerd out at that point and really get dialed in with the pros.
Absolutely. Talking with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer, on the Meredith Taylor guest line. She sponsors that for us. We certainly appreciate that. So the Gamecocks are doing a little football playing tomorrow.
Let's go.
Looks pretty good. And so there was some news this week, and it's not necessarily, it's going to impact football in a major way. But it's more university wide. And as a former student athlete, you had to be kind of fired up about this, the ESM deal with Everett Sports Marketing. We had Chance Miller and Hillary Cox on earlier this week talking about
Great
it.
interview, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was a game-changing announcement, and I thought those two really spearheaded it, and I thought it took a lot of vision to pull that off. And it's a good idea, great idea, and from idea to execution,
yes,
they deserve a lot of credit for it. But as a former student athlete, your opinion about things like this, especially being a golfer, which in golf, there's lots of endorsements and things like that do take place, and this is I think it's gonna help all sports in South Carolina.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled for the student athletes. Obviously, I wish I had a little eligibility left to get myself an NIL deal. But no, it's like you said, having the visionary, but having the execution, knowing who to contact. Because I used to be in that agency. I represented an LPGA Tour player for several years, and so knowing that industry has in the past been, for lack of a better term, a little shady. If you didn't know the right people to talk to that had integrity and had the knowing ESM and knowing their ties to Carolina. I mean, what a brilliant move by our administration to work with them. They're the best of the best. And I'm thrilled for the student athletes. It's going to be a game changer. To be like the first in the space is really nice as Gamecocks. So, Gamecock Nation, it should be proud, and I'm very proud of Gamecock for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I just, being involved in the NIL space, I'm still somewhat of a novice to it, but looking at it and kind of looking at what all South Carolina has, and Hillary talked about it like a wheel with different spokes.
I thought that was a fantastic analogy because you need everybody.
This is a big spoke,
right.
In my opinion, because this is gonna really facilitate major deals for guys that that want to contend, and you get a player that can take that with him, into his endorsement.
And that education too is so important. Going to that next level, the contract negotiations, the working with the sponsorships and the endorsements, all of that's going to be beneficial. It's going to help, and it's going to facilitate the big boys coming in and getting those big time deals. Helps with recruiting. I mean, the dominoes just start falling. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, and Dabo said though that at Clemson, NIL is about education, not about professionalization. So he said that yesterday. I don't know. So what context it was in, but I started thinking that just like you said, and I agreed with you. What's more educational than this?
Absolutely.
What? I mean, what in the world, man? So anyway, that was interesting. So all right, so something we didn't know about you. Maybe, or maybe I did, and I just didn't bring it up. You're a daughter of a former high school football coach.
Yes, sir.
Right? So,
yes, sir.
So
yeah, it's like wondering, how does this girl know X's and O's?
Yeah, sure. So we asked Michael Flynn this, and we've been talking about keys to the game. Give us your keys to the game on Saturday night.
Yeah, obviously a clean game, minimal penalties, and no turnovers. But I just think this offensive line, who's been talked about all offseason, they're going to show out. Set the tone for the game, but set the tone for the year. I think this group is hungry to go show out. Spencer getting comfortable in the pocket. Our running backs just having a day. I really think Marshawn Lloyd's going to have a day tomorrow, and I would love nothing more just based on his story. But that group in the trenches, I'm excited to see them just prove to everybody that year two of the same OC, getting that communication, that continuity down. I just think they're going to show out, and I'm going to love every second of it. But on the other side of the ball, obviously those guys are going to stop the run. They know what they want to do. Georgia State's going to want to run the ball. That's what their success is. And when you're playing an SEC team, when you don't have the talent pieces like we do, you're going to want to hold the ball that time of possession. The less you can have Spencer Rattler on the field, the better for them. So the defense will apply pressure, stop the run, tackles for loss. I think they're going to have a big game too. This is our house, Q Sandstorm. It's going to be amazing atmosphere. No disrespect to Georgia State, but our guys are going to overpower them by the time we get to third and fourth quarter. I'm gonna love it. I'm just I'm ready for somebody to pop somebody in the mouth that first game. You know what I mean? Like it's not talking season anymore. Like let's go play.
Yeah, we've mentioned this before on the show, and sort of in a roundabout way. We talk about this a lot about the culture, and
yes,
Shane Beamer's trying to establish at South Carolina, and that he has in a short time. I don't think Shane didn't take over a bad locker room. In other words, he didn't take over a team full of selfish dudes. They even under Muschamp, they're really good kids in the program, right? You don't hear, knock on wood, about a lot of guys getting in trouble like back during the late Holtz era, man. That was almost every week. But now it's a lot of good citizens there, and all. But I think he did inherit a locker room that was a little down, and also a bunch of guys that, while talented, maybe as a team didn't understand how to win. Kind of in your difference, in your opinion,
sure.
The difference in the mentality now, and the difference in that culture that facilitates that mentality, and how maybe Beamer's coaching, and coaching style that may get lost on some people in games,
right,
has helped facilitate part of that.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. In the previous era, let's just say it was minute 52 to go until halftime. Okay, we got a timeout left. They would basically take a knee, like run it up the middle and get to halftime. No attempt to really score. And that used to drive me nuts. I wanted to throw the remote at the television because I'm like, you just left points on the board. Like, let's go get 6. And so what I love about Beamer is he's like, let's go score. We got a 2-minute drill. Let's go get 6. And if not, we're going to get 3, but we're going to go get 6. And to flip it, on the other end, let's say it's a minute 52 to go left in the game and we're on defense. They're trying to go for the win in the fourth quarter. I didn't really, I hated prevent defense because don't get me started. When I saw our DBs that were like 5 to 7 yards off the ball, it used to drive me insane. I'm like, no, so I love Beamer and Clayton White. They play press coverage. It's the mentality of you're going to have to earn every yard. This is SEC big boy football. And the DBs are going to press. You're going to have to, QB, who's being pressured, by the way, you're going to have to also fit it in a window. Like you're going to have to earn it. And I just love that physical mentality switch that it's almost like a flip to we're aggressive mentality now on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. And, you can look at several examples of that last year. And, last year was such an uneven year personnel wise, first year, that kind of thing.
Sure.
It's hard to kind of take notes of some of it, but heck, man, the first and last game last season,
That's right.
after the first touchdown, that they're going for 2. Surprising.
I love it. And I love it. I mean, when it's 4th and 1 and we're in their territory and we got the momentum, like, let's go.
Yeah.
That's just I love that aggressive mentality. Like our guys up front are going to get you the yard.
Yeah, that's definitely that. And I hope they do get the yard a bunch this year because that's what's so hard sometimes about playing offensive line in this league because
right.
You can be a really good offensive line, and because of the D lines you're playing,
it's so true.
There may be a time that you get blown back and you don't get the 4th and 1. And I've seen it happen to Alabama and Georgia and A&M, and you name your team. I mean, I've seen it happen in this league over and over again at times. And
right.
so,
yeah. Good on good. Let's go. That's right.
I hope for these guys' sake, though, that nothing egregious like that happens, at least for the first month of the season, because, offensive line is also one of those things people remember you playing bad, but when you're playing good, nobody ever talks about you.
That's right.
And so that's going to be a watched position on.
That's the nature of the beast, right?
Saturday night. All right, wrapping up with Meredith Taylor. She's always our final guest on the show each and every week. And just like with Wando, I have all of Meredith's segments. I think most of them up on the YouTube page. So if you miss one, want to go back, review. If you're new to listening to the show, you can go back and watch these and catch up. That kind of good thing there. So here we go. Brass tacks, score prediction.
All right.
Take it away.
I'm going to go 35-14.
35-14.
14.
Okay, I like that. That's covering the spread. That's what. 35-14. That's
7:30 Williams Bryce LED lights Q Sandstorm. Let's go. Yeah, absolutely. It's happening.
I think the atmosphere is going to look really, really good, and that's just another thing. You can feel this fan base getting a lot more positive lately, and that's just another thing for them that I like. That's going to make them happy. Most of them, 98% of them. There'll be people that complain about it. I'm sure as I'm sitting here, but 98%. You see Georgia Stadium, Alabama Stadium with those lights, and they look great. So it's going to be really fun to see those Saturday night Williams Bryce. Meredith, enjoy your football family party this weekend.
Yes, sir.
I hope you have some good eats and drinks and a lot of good fellowship, and you guys are enjoying a win, and we will talk with you next Friday.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you after the win.
Yeah.
That's right.
Taylor, bold prediction, 35-14 Gamecocks. So thanks for joining us, and we'll holler at you soon next week.
Thank you, guys. Go Cox.
Go Cox.
That was good right there. Meredith Taylor Golf. We're going to continue to talk with her, send in your golf questions, all that good stuff each and every Friday. Really enjoy her as a guest. Really think she's pretty awesome. Daddy O is talking about golf, and he's like, if I leave the beer in the car and not in the cart, I usually have a cleaner card. Oh,
yeah.
I actually play better drinking beer, and because I'm like, I'm super competitive, and so I don't like to drink beer when I'm playing golf. I'm like keeping score like Steve Spurrier out there. We're shooting in the daggone 150s, right?
I feel it's like, kind of like bowling. Like there's a proper balance, between beer and how well you're playing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get some score predictions in before Phil and I give ours. Craig says 34-17 Gamecocks. Daddy O 42-17 Gamecocks. Our buddy Xavier, who tweets at us, he's in the chat box. He's in the mailbag. Xavier, pick for the game, 31-21. Ooh, a little closer. I will tell you, Tony Morrell, in his iconic 5 keys to victory, first one of the year. It comes every year. We love it. Look, you can get that on thebigspur.com. It's a free content item. You don't even have to be a member to read it. And so he picked 34-23 Gamecocks. So not to cover, because that 11 wouldn't cover.
Yeah, that wouldn't do it. Yeah.
So that's good. Craig asked a good question here, and I'll answer it briefly. Could you see yourself crystal balling Harbor after his official to South Carolina or after all his officials? I'm about to crystal ball him probably pretty soon. All I want to hear is one more positive piece of info, and I'll be there. David Flint said I guess his brother was plagiarizing. Daniel says 34-20 Gamecocks. John had a good question here on the Nana Sports chat box. Do you think the defensive template they used against Howell in the bowl game and against Florida last year is applicable for stopping Georgia State? It is to a certain extent. I mean, there's some things they both do. Dan Mullen's offense, though, is different than Longo's offense. And it's different than what Sean Elliott and those guys run. It's all subtly different. But I do think, you got to bottle up. You can't let the quarterback beat you with his legs. And I thought South Carolina last year did a good job shutting down Emory Jones and then the Sam Howell in the bowl game. I mean, so the dual threat quarterback in all games didn't hurt the Gamecocks last year. It was a bad thing against Vandy, but that Vandy thing was a surprise. They kept that top secret, and boom, they put Wright out there and they couldn't stop him. Daniel says he doesn't think Sean Elliott's coming to Columbia to kick a bunch of field goals. 76 Gamecock, a bold prediction, 52-10.
Whew.
That'd be a slaughter, right? Could happen.
We'd all love to see it. Yeah, we'd all love to see it.
J-Rock says 42-17 Gamecock. So Wando picked 41-14, Meredith 35-14. We got the chat box out. I'm going to give the floor to Phil. Phil, your pick for the game.
All right. So looking at this, and I've been all over the board with this, like you were the other day. I could see us putting up 52, Then you put yourself back in, you're like, rein it back in. But no, I'm settling in on 38-23 us.
38-23. That's
38-23.
That's the score of the Thursday night Kentucky South Carolina top. It's the only time they've ever played, I think, is top 15 opponents.
Yep.
Williams-Brice. Gamecocks won at 38-23. That's a heck of a score prediction. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I've been thinking 35-21 for weeks. Then yesterday in the car, I started thinking about a bigger score. I don't want to be a homer here, right? And last time I picked a big score for the Gamecocks in an opener was 2015 because I didn't think Auburn. I didn't think North Carolina had a bunch of a defense. Turned to find out it was a defensive struggle.
Right. Yeah.
I think 52-20. I just thought, that was. Yeah, that wasn't good. That team couldn't score 52 points against anybody. That Gamecock team that year. So I've gotten burnt before, but I'm tired of Phil sort of hedging my bets and not admitting how good I think this team can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially improved on offense. So I'm going to do a Marcus Satterfield, a pro Marcus Satterfield pick. A pro offense pick and a pro Gamecock pick and say 51-21.
Oh, man.
I'm going to say 51. I'm going to go back to my thoughts of 51-21.
Love it.
Now, you guys, look, it's a pick. I don't really like making them. I like to do scenarios. Like in this scenario, this will be the score. This scenario, this will be the score. I don't like to make score predictions or record predictions. But I'm going to do it because it's fun. Mm-hmm. And I just, I'm just tired of kind of pulling the reins back all off season. You've got explosiveness at receiver. You've got Spencer Rattler as your quarterback. You got a borderline 5-star guy, Marshawn Lloyd, that's finally healthy as your running back. You have 109 starts on the offensive line. Your two tight ends are going to play in the NFL in Bell and Stogner. You got Josh Vann back, who led the team in receiving. You got an improved Amarian Brown and Xavier Legette. Jalen Brooks actually did some good things this preseason. I just don't. Why would the offense not be improved? And Georgia State's defense, was that a fly, Phil?
Mic drop. That's exactly it. Yeah, mic drop.
Drop the mic there. And so that's it. I just think I think they'll be good. I think the offense for Georgia State can give Carolina some problems. There'll be some busted assignments, and Georgia State will score. But I think South Carolina's going to score in bunches. And the reason I went with the 51, they may try 2 2-point conversions tomorrow. And I'm sure people expect that. But anyway, that's my pick, and I'm going to end this week, a beautiful week on the show. Just looking at our audience, it grew probably by about 40% this week.
It has been, yeah. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you.
As everybody finds it, they get in the Nana Sports chat box, and it's amazing. H-Man says it's a natural Carolina fan reaction to be hesitant. We're all hoping for 57 points. Yeah. It's been a long 10 years, man. I mean, there's been a lot of crap that's happened in all sports. And I think one thing Gamecock fans do want to see are points on the board. I mean, think about the low-scoring baseball team, the low-scoring basketball teams. Even the women don't score a whole lot. They have games where they go cold. Football couldn't get it past the 50 in some instances last year.
Well, and it's like you said, JC. I mean, this is the year. Like, we have everything you need to score points. You've got it all. It's all right there. And it's not unreasonable to think the defense is going to be able to keep them off of their game, keep them behind the chains, and force them, 3 and outs if you're going to run fast and play smart, then you're going to get the ball back. And every time you get the ball back, you get a chance.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the deal there. So, Phil, next time we have one of these, we will have a game in the books. I'm excited.
I know. Me too, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, so got some Monday guests coming on. We will have Trey Biddy back on the show from Arkansas. That's I don't know. Arkansas fans found that video or something because it's like going viral off of our YouTube page. I'm like,
yeah.
And I looked up where the traffic was coming from on his interview, and it's like, I was like, who's reading this? And it's like, Dallas, Fort Worth, Fayetteville, Little Rock, and I'm like, the Hogs have found Trey's interview, so that was good. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you that interact with us every day. All of you listening on podcast format. Again, forgive me for not double checking my work last night. I'm going to have this one up this afternoon. You guys with the night game, there's a lot of episodes you can catch up on. Also catch JC and Morgan. That's a nice preview show for the weekend of all college football and all that. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page as well, where we stream every day. All right. For Phil Mullinax, it's JC Sherbert signing off for the week, game week. Fired up about tomorrow, and we will talk with you folks very, very soon.